Hi guys, hope all is well. I am gonna do a video just about what I'm looking for next week. It's been a little while since I've done one of these videos, so I'm quite excited to get back in. Did have a break for a little bit, but let's do it. So, as we usually do and always do, starting out with the dollar. Let's see, nothing really that much has changed. Obviously, high time frame, as if you've seen my videos before, we'll know. We had this break structure. Then we were looking for price to come in to the 50% of this area. We didn't quite meet that, but that's fine. Don't always meet it. But what we have done is we did have this big area of supply in here. And you can see from this supply, we have now created demand. That's been in here. So realistically, I would have liked to have seen price come into the 50. Like I said, we don't always get that, and that is fine. If price is going to start making a bit of a push up, I would want to see a little bit of further upside movement. Then we could potentially see something going into this weekly supply. That is just going to be my high time frame target. I mean, there is equal highs just at the top here, so that could be a run, but I'm going to map out this level 13,300 flat. I'm going to just leave out this level because obviously we have to get to this level before we get to this level. But if price did break above, then I would not be surprised. Weekly, what can you see? Just still, we can use our fib from the high to our low. We came in to a really, really nice fib pocket in here. If we then map out this fib zone, I can already see this weekly wick. There we go. That's really nice. So again, we can map out this guy potentially as well, just see if we're going to get any movements from there. So if we kind of refine this a bit more, this came off this wick and then we tested with this. This is just on the weekly. I mean, look how much we've identified already just on the weekly. If you can build like a high time frame perspective and then just work your way down, it's going to be so beneficial and crucial. So this weekly zone that I had mapped out, this was an area that I was looking at for quite some time, and I'm pretty sure, did we come in the way to this last bit? Okay, we just missed it. So that means we came off this 12-hour. Why? Because after we mitigated from here, everything had been filled and tested. We had this small imbalance that was filled, and then we had this demand zone that was mitigated. And this was the zone that caused and kind of broke out of here. Or this was the major one that kind of caused all of this big rally, to be fair, that even broke this high. So a pullback all the way back into this zone and area wasn't unexpected. But I had a few levels mapped out, but we didn't meet any of them, which is fine. It is what it is. It doesn't always happen. So now for the higher time frame, we do have all of these highs, which I would like to see get taken. We have a 10 a.m. or like 10 a.m. London session. We create this high. Nothing took it in New York, which is what I would have liked to have seen. So could potentially still see some areas on here. Weekly, we do have this big supply zone in here. But if I just map this out slightly, this is nothing more than kind of just a big imbalance, which could be could get respected. But if I'm going to be honest, with just this big imbalance and nothing really that exciting at the top, I would probably like to see some further upside movements into this or even potentially higher. 13 flat got tested 1300. You can see that was a real nice test. So I do want to see some potential downsides to look if we can potentially go long. I feel like everyone can see right now we have, oops, we have this little guy in here that we could also get to respected, but for the time being, we have had our intermediate time frames. This is our low, this is our high, this is our low, this is our high. So, oops, we did in this zone come all the way in to our 50%. As you can see, we retraced into 50%. That's really nice. And from there, we kind of just continued. What we also did is I'm pretty sure we also just tested this high. So that's really nice to see. And we could see some continuations. Going in from next week, I potentially would like to see even a 50% fill of this zone to then maybe start pushing up. If we don't and we fail that, if we then do break this low, I do want to see something like this. But if we do break below this low, I will be looking for a pullback to come into here and to then go long and generate some liquidity in the form of highs and then actually started to rally up. Equally, until then, I am just going to wait and see. That is what I do have. If we are going to be looking at things again on the high time frame, I will be looking to see if all of that is going to get taken or if it is going to get respected. What we could maybe do is on a bit of a higher time frame, if there was something like a, something like a big sell to buy, and then we do come up here, then we could look for intermediate shorts from this zone to then just push higher, because I'm sure if it was to come up into here, that would then be a break of this high, and then we just follow the mitigation on. What I do understand equally is when this demand was created, when that first big pump happened, it didn't get hit for 157 days. So we could also like rip from this zone, mitigate, break the structure, literally come all the way back down and then potentially push. That could be something that definitely could happen. I do want to see what is going to happen. We do also have some equal lows resting in the form of lows here. So if that did get taken and just all of this imbalance got filled, then I wouldn't really be that surprised. But bullish on the dollar, intermediate potentially could see some shorts just to mitigate to then push a bit higher. But overall on the dollar, I do want to see 13,200 get met, and I do want to see 13,300 get met as well. So let's wait and see what happens with this pair. AUD/USD. We eventually died. We was all kind of expecting this. We had equal lows here that were generated. Price did wick past them, and then I did think we were going to get a little bit of a move up. Okay, so let's start on the weekly. So weekly, we are basically, I'm not going to look too much what happened in like 2018 and stuff like that, but we are bearish. And our big major point that we did mitigate into, whoops, was our COVID crash, which was here, very, very nice. Some people could have said that we had a fill, and if you had seen some reaction, that's fine. It was kind of still valid. But this is kind of our deeper zone that we've been trading into on the weekly. Did we come into the 50%? Yes, we did. We literally just wicked it. As you can see, we literally just wicked that 50%. So now looking for anywhere kind of within this big zone is going to still be valid. So you can already see on the weekly how much we've identified. We can also see we have this guy. But what did happen is this is a big zone, so we potentially could actually run that. I wouldn't be surprised, especially if dollar wanted to make a big run. Even though we do have this big zone, like I said, we could still slowly bleed through it. I mean, if we would go through what happened here, we had a nice mitigation, price ran up. We started pushing back down into a supply zone. We had slight reaction, pulled all the way back up, and then we died. So I'm not saying this is going to happen, but potentially could see the same outcome. We came into here, price made a high. We're just mitigating, raiding liquidity, mitigating, come all the way back up, and then we could dump through it, or at least potentially take out this low, or this low again. I definitely think that we could see a further dive into this big whole weekly zone. What I can do is I can just use my fib like this, map out this zone as a 50% and see what does look to come back into it. I can already see on the weekly we did break a low, so we can be looking for this whole guy in here. So look how much we've established just on the weekly about where we're mitigating into, what zones we could be coming back into, where price could potentially go. There is a lot here on the table. And so what we also did is, did we mitigate in here? Yeah, we did. I remember when this happened. We mitigated this weekly, and then we did come up into here, but price did mitigate here, so we can take this whole thing, or we could mitigate, have this. Oh, so price didn't even come into that wick, but we did come into this major whole zone, which is why I think price is kind of coming in and around and testing it. Let's kind of drop it down to the daily. Daily, I'm going to be focusing just on this zone because if price is obviously going to break above this, and this is just going to be our next target. So you can see the last time our EMAs crossed on the daily, we died. Here they crossed, they died. Here they're crossing. So we are actually seeing that die off now. Weekly, I did point out this wick because I think we could trade back into it. We can then refine that into this daily zone. 12-hour, again. I did actually get a really, really nice trade on this. I'll break it down. 11, 9, 8, blah, blah, blah. 4-hour. So even though I'm going to take this whole zone, what I'm going to do, so I'm going to take this whole zone. What I'm going to do is I'm also going to map out this area as well. And I'm pretty sure, does that line up to the 50%? Okay, so just under the 50%. Cool. Hourly, we got this major whole zone. So now I did get a nice trade in off here. Now, it technically was slightly invalid, but my stop loss was covering it. I did have a feeling this was probably going to happen, to be fair. I had a 12 pip stop loss. So I was targeting, first of all, I was targeting this 50-minute in here. There's an hourly zone, or is it half an hour zone? Let's have a look. Yeah, this hourly zone I was looking for, target 1, which is here, and then target 2, which was down here. Well, really, really nice to see. We did, no, we didn't. Sorry, I was looking at the sun. So price came all the way down. We came and we came pretty close to target 1. I did actually close in and around here just because there was news later that day and things like that. What we did do is we did come back and pretty much retrace all the way to the top side. And then I was looking for, because when this initial low first came out, I didn't like how, I didn't like how these lows were looking in here. So I had a feeling that we did want to come back up, which is fine. So price did, we came all the way back up, we mitigated. Let's go on a 5-minute. I would say, let's go 10 minutes on the 10-minute. 15. Okay, I'm just gonna take it from 15. We had this whole zone that was dumped. Now there was another opportunity on um yeah, on the 10-minute. I personally didn't take this trade just because it's NFP and I don't like how spreads and thing move. There's been a couple times where the spread will go super, super fat and it'll just take me out, which is really, really annoying. But that was second entry. That would have been valid. You can see price literally just wicked into here. I would have still probably put my stop above this previous one in here. And then you can have your targets. I would have definitely had just to run this low. And you can see that one did actually turn out really, really nice. Like I said, I wasn't in this, so I'm not going to claim that I was in this, but I did catch this one, so that was really, really nice. So for the here and now, obviously we've broken lows, equal lows. I do want to see if we can run into this low and definitely in the 50%, kind of in and around the same regions. I think maybe going into next week, we could run down a little bit and then we have that push move up, so we can have that move down. You could look at this from a couple different ways. You could potentially have a position, I'd probably have it like this. So the risk reward isn't actually that amazing, to be fair. Only a 1 to 2 hours, gonna say you could potentially have a position that you could swing. Um, but I don't know. I mean, personally, I feel like that's a little bit too big. If you did want to maybe do it, obviously, I'm not gonna stop you. If I was probably going away or I wasn't behind my computer, this probably would be a trade that I would take because if we go that 5 hours looking really, really nice. Um, 6 hours, 7 hour. Yeah, so from the 7 hour above, you can see 12 hour, cool, and then the daily. This kind of where like that daily wick on that 12 hours. So potentially seeing if price did break through that, then that is fine. That could definitely be something we could see. What I would maybe do if it was me, I would be mapping out this high and I'd be mapping out this low because this broke here. What I'm potentially going to be waiting for now is just to see if price is going to keep just raiding this low, and then if we potentially see that break, look for a pullback, and then potentially could see some nice risk reward on a potential trade like this, just for some longs. If the week starts really bearish, I will look. If we start doing this like Monday, Tuesday, going into Thursday, Friday, I will look for the longs. If we do start trading like this at the beginning of the week, then I will look for that potential move down. So could see some potential nice moves on here. Potential short entry could be anywhere up into here. Let's see now how that risk reward has changed. I'd probably make this just a little bit shorter, just above this high, just to protect it. So that then now is a 1 to 4, still not amazing, but if you're swinging it, then it's not too bad. Usually what I potentially like to do is if I did get into either a position in here or a position in here, obviously you've got your wider risk reward, but I would then personally like drop it down into a lower time frame and see if I can get a better entry and a better risk reward just to hold and carry this down. Even though we have this one, I still like to do that sometimes. So usually if I'm looking for a trade, I realistically only really like to look for like uh what as long as it's over like a 1 to 3, I don't really mind. I mean, this one was a 1 to 7, this one's a 1 to 4. Or potentially if you had this like that, that's a 1 to 2.5. But I I personally don't really like that. I feel like we definitely could dig up into this major zone for a bit. If we're gonna potentially trade up into halfway, we definitely could still see that zone. I mean, this 5 hour is looking really, really nice for me. I do want to see if we could get that move down. We had a raid, price pull back up, so we had this small supply that was invalidated. But really and truly, we didn't actually really do anything with this supply, even though we had this raid, price breaking down lower, we came up mitigated, we broke out of this zone. Break structure looking for the zone that caused that break. This is up here. Price going down, we broke this low again. We're looking for the same zone that caused that. This was up here, and then NFP came out and we dumped. So I do want to see if we can get shorts. Obviously, if price does start making its way back down lower, then I'm definitely going to be looking for some longs. But for the time being, I do want to see some shorts. I don't like this imbalance too much. I still think that could be a potential zone that we could trade into. but let's see what we do get. But for my bias, I'm looking for potential shorts to longs, or if we are going to fall short, then look for some potential longs. So yes, let's see. Euro AUD, I was looking on this, was I? No, I don't think so. We can delete that one. I'm not looking at that. Um, pound CAD. I had literally been waiting for this one zone for literally ages, and it's only now finally happening. So, uh, pound CAD came up mitigated in this zone. That was really nice. And then potentially looking to start heading back down a bit. I mean, we are somewhat bullish. I mean, we did break structure. Wait, let's go back on the weekly. So weekly, we had a massive dive off. We had a massive run going into, when was this? 2022. I'm pretty sure this was with Liz Truss with the news. So love that. We do have a potential zone down in here. What I could maybe see is we could maybe see some potential short side movements now if I'm just looking for this map out this weekly imbalance. Nothing really too much happening. 3 day, no. So I do want to see price come back down into this weekly imbalance. And where this weekly imbalance is the zone that I've been waiting for goddamn ages. So we could potentially now be seeing, looking at this. I was looking for higher time frame longs at one point because I was looking for price to come into this zone, which we did. We smacked it, and then we literally died from here. This 4 hourly, this was where EMAs would cross. I was looking for it here when we rated this. I was looking for this here. We didn't get it. We didn't get it. We didn't get it, and we were just generating this big pool of liquidity in here to potentially then just get taken, which is what we did. So can we see anything? So we had a mitigation from this guy in here. We had slight equal highs in here, which we got ran, and we did close bearish. Now, I did want to see some high time frame things get tested. We maybe could still see them, the either this zone in here or up here. So far, though, we haven't actually got it. We did have a big run in here, but if I'm going to be honest with you, I think we could come out and take this low. Breaking it down, what do we see? We could maybe mitigate in here, but I don't think we are. What I do think was 20-minute, 15. If anyone's looking or eyeing this up, great. This was that zone which you can see really raided these highs. Raided it. Then we broke out this low. We then tried to pull up. We didn't successfully do it, and then we died off. We break it down 5 minute. Again, we could come into here, but this is looking quite nice for me. 10-minute, 15-minute. Let's go 30 minutes, that wick. 45-minute, 50 an hour. So we definitely could come into here. I'm probably just going to map out this bigger zone. Oops, not that way. Up that 65-minute. Just protected by this high. What we can also see is this guy in here. Oh, we just slightly missed the mitigation, to be fair. But we did basically just close that imbalance. I was right under it. Up in here, which is fine. So sell model, pound cards. I do have a couple outcomes. We could definitely see price dig lower into here, and that would be that weekly zone. What does this line up with here? Nothing really. We do have that daily wick, which is just under here, which I could definitely see get tested. What we can do now is we can break down this area. Um, 30-minute, just cut it in half. Cool. So we have a really nice 30-minute zone in here. I was maybe looking for longs in here. Maybe. But for me, we'd already kind of accomplished the move that I wanted to go in for the longs in. So we do have some zones down in here. These lows haven't been taken yet. So could definitely see price maybe dig a little bit lower if it was just going to try and even break it potentially. That we can work this at the 50%. So I want to see shorts from here coming back down into this level now. Could I maybe see a long from here? Maybe yes. I don't know if I really like these lows too much. I don't like how we had this wick and against these slightly equal lows in here. Bearing in mind we could do that if we are going to potentially break this low. I do want to see a pullback. Or we could very much well have mitigated in all of this, generating liquidity in the form of highs, and then shorts to go long, because we do have other areas in here which we could actually target. Could potentially be a possibility. Weekly, we do have a weekly imbalance just in here. That could definitely get tested. Daily, daily again, nothing really too much, but that definitely could be a potential which I am gonna look at. I am gonna keep my eyes on that pair, but for the time being, all I am just really gonna look for is potentially just a nice short off in and off and around this zone. I'd like to do like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Whoa. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Monday, come. So, pound cards, definitely want to see if we can catch some sells from this zone in here and just carry on the short momentum. Euro pound. Let me just do my Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Cool. AU again. That's just our sell model. I like to just have this so I can see the run of the week. Euro pound. Yeah, euro pound. Euro pound, we've been bearish and we did finally trade into a 4-hour zone, which I've literally been looking up for God knows how long. We had a massive, massive, massive run, and we are now finally coming down into this zone. Let's go on a weekly. Weekly, we did come and mitigate off this zone, and then we did shift above this high. So just looking for a pullback to then maybe go long. We are mitigating off of this zone now. So if we did have any sort of pullback and retracements, it would be to potentially be in here. We do still have lower down zones, but at the moment I am not going to worry about that too much. Ever since we ran out these lows, we have actually just been mitigating. This was that last point of weekly contact we were looking for. We came in, we ran and we shifted above structures. We did kind of come into this weekly zone, but wasn't really too much in there. So now, are we going to dump lower, or are we actually going to start pushing up? And if we did start maybe pushing up on euro pound, that potentially means we could see pound CAD, pound weakness. Um, so there are quite a lot of things in and around this zone which I did want to see um, get tested. I mean, get taken. I mean, we do have a lot of equal highs in here, and not really that much has gone on. So I do want to see if we could get some upside movements. We do, like I said, we do have this whole zone, which we can definitely look to trade from. I'm going to keep my 50% mapped out. I did look for shorts last week. We ran all of this. So I was looking for the 30% test in here. We did start coming short, but I don't like these lows. So what I do think can happen is I think we still could maybe just have one more die before we actually go back up. There was a really clean 5-minute zone in here, which price could react from. I would personally just take this whole 15-minute. And if we did get that potential, we could potentially be looking for shorts. I would still probably have my stop just a little bit above in case it got taken. And I would be looking to target realistically these lows in here. So that is about a 1 to 4, which I would personally look to take. Let's go Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Cool. 15-minute in here. Just looking for these nice shorts. I mean, this is London market. We didn't take anything in here and then we just kind of exploded. So still looking to see shorts on the table, definitely off that 15-minute zone for me. That looks really, really clean. If we do obviously fall short, then I'll look for longs. But if we do pull up into here and look for shorts, then um, I will do that. Cool. Nice. 1 to 4. So yeah, let's see how it moves. But that's what I'm looking for. CAD CHF. I'm not looking at that. CAD JPY though. I was looking for longs originally off of this 4-hourly zone, but what we did do is we reacted from here. I am overall on the pound, on CAD JPY. We're bullish, and I really want to see a trade back up into this zone in here. I do think we could potentially do that. I think my first target is going to be 6,500 flat. And if we do have some CAD strength, again, that means pound CAD short. I did want to see if we were going to get some higher moves. But we still haven't broken out of this zone yet, but I definitely think we could still run that going into the weekly. Did we break this low? Oh, we just created equal lows, but that's fine. We could still potentially see a move back down if we do come off this weekly, and then we could potentially eventually take them out. So we had a raid of these lows, and now I'm waiting to see if we can run out this high, which I think is definitely going to be on the cards. I was looking last week for some shorts though, back off this zone in here, and there was this 30-minute zone I was also looking at in here. When I go on the 45-minute, I was maybe just looking more so off of this zone. And you can see we had this whole channel of liquidity, which I do want to see get taken. So potentially shorts. But we do have a couple zones that price could maybe react from in here as well. We invalidated this zone. Could you potentially see this zone for potential longs? Could be on the cards. 4 hourly potentially could just take all of this wick. What does that line up? I think it's that 30-minute. Yeah. So even off just this whole zone. I don't know how much I like that personally. Let's see if we're in the 50%. So we are in the 50%. That actually could still be a valid zone, to be fair. How would I play this if I was maybe looking for longs off here? Potentially, I would just leave a bit if this did want to get run. And I would also be looking for my longs just off here with this low protected. That's a 1 to 5. The yeah, so that for me, probably this second zone is looking a bit nicer. What we can do though is if price does look like it wants to start heading back down, very much well could see some shorts if we do start breaking above this zone in here. Could see some pullbacks for some shorts. Do we have any zone where we could see? No, nothing really. If we do start heading just back down, I will be looking for both of these zones. If price does start heading back up, then I will again look for shorts into the zone, but we are just going to see, I have to see how it all plays out. Daily. What have we got? Friday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Monday. So we do have this daily imbalance that I've just spotted, which is here. What does that line up with? Okay, so maybe could see a slight raid of this low if that is that daily imbalance. But again, let's see how we go. That is a potentially a 1 to 4, a 1 to 5, and that's gonna be okay, no, so we definitely could run it up at least into that high. I feel like if we are gonna break above, we are gonna look for a pullback. What we could do is on Monday or whenever we could actually just run this and then have that pullback into that daily zone and then actually start having that run. Again, you could maybe swing a position in this. My final target is going to be up here, so I'm literally going to be riding this all the way up. Even though we had like a massive run and now price is just absolutely steaming at the moment. We do have a daily imbalance just in here at the moment. But for me, realistically, looking for longs off any of these positions is going to be what I'm going to be looking for. Boom. Really nice. Um, we had that was that 30-minute zone. If we do the 50%, okay, so we do have this slightly smaller zone in here. We had yeah, I also did catch a short off this as well. Off this zone in here. Super clean shorts. I have my stop just above this high, and I had my take profit at the open of this imbalance in here. So that was a really, really nice 1 to 7. We died from there. Then price came back down. We just ran the low and then we started pushing all the way back up, which makes me think that we could definitely run out of any of these two guys. So yeah, let's keep an eye on those and see what happens there. I'm just gonna map out just this zone down here. Cool. So that is pound CAD. That's our buy model and that's our sell model. You could have definitely, it's not a massive risk to reward, but you definitely could still have your target one of this high if price did pull down. But if I'm gonna be honest, I think if price does mitigate off this zone, I think we could run up and then actually come back down like this. So we could run back down long, we could short long, or we could short again, run the liquidity that was in here. But you can see our EMAs line up quite nicely with this zone. I wouldn't be surprised if there was a slight a slight raid. That's fine. That's bound to happen. And a potential nice long up into these top sides. I'm gonna leave it there for the time being. I didn't really look at too much else. I was looking at a slight bit of gold, but nothing really too much. I do want to wait for the market to develop slightly in a week, and see what that gets. But if you guys got any questions about these, please let me know. Feel free to fire away. And I will help everyone as much as I can. All right, guys. Bye.